Hey, welcome to our channel, and today I'm going to bring us a kind of like a general overview of this little sweet gig. This is the Yolobox original. Now, the reason why I'm going with an overview on this one, and also want to do like a mini series of all the features that are going to be following, is that the Yolo people, or Yolobox people, have just released an update for our original version called the Yolobox OG. I guess that eventually became a name and something that everybody that uses it understands. But basically, this brought in some features that everybody wanted, and of course, this is the oldest of their units. But the Yolobox team has been gracious and has been, I think, the best thing, or the best way I can put it is you can develop loyalty if you're loyal to your customers as well. And of course, they have come out with newer products, and which are great products as well. But hey, if you have a tool that does the job for you, you don't necessarily want to have to be forced or buy because you're being forced. You're gonna have to upgrade. I think there's always a balance in that, and ultimately creating that loyalty. You're gonna have customers that are gonna be there for you or with you throughout. So kudos to the Yolobox team. So anyways, let's get to it. I'm just gonna get to that screen. Now, I'm gonna take you really quick over the settings, which is this little icon on the upper left, the man with the little gear. I'm just gonna click there, and basically that's where just basically your basic setup, and you set up your account with Yolobox. Here's where that's gonna be set up, and then you have about device, and basically this is gonna tell you what version of Yolobox you have and so forth. And next, we're going to have just language settings. If you want to restore it to factory, haven't had to do it. Version, you can check what is your current version. When there's a firmware update, a software upgrade for your Yolobox, you usually will be just notified automatically. But there's basically, if you want to check what your current version is, you just click here, or in the about as well. It tells you what your most current version is. Then you can set up your time zone and screen rotate. It's a neat feature. So if for whatever reason, if you need to mount it and you need to mount it upside down, you can just go ahead and rotate the screen, and then that will basically do the trick. I've done it before. It just depends on the situation, but basically it's just available, and that was a clever feature that they added along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and let's go ahead and I'm just going to simply delete these guys, and I'm going to create a new event. So you can do a couple of things here. You can create standard events, or you can use the YoloCast events, which is another add-on that they've had for a couple of years, I might say, give or take. Don't take me on that exactly, but basically that would be a matter for another video. So I'm going to go back to standard events. If you hit the plus button there, you can actually go in two different modes. And this monitor mode, it's also a newer thing that they added down the road. And basically that's if you just want to be at an event, you're just going to record and create the event and take it with you, and then upload it later. For live stream, basically you have you just click on create a live stream, and then you're going to call it whatever you're going to call it. I'm going to call it test, and there I am, and I'm done. I don't have to add any description or anything. So if I open it up, there I am, and right now I do not have a camera source. I should plug in something, but I can add a source from the different sources. And now let's see what the Yolobox call sources are going to be. And let me just actually get there. If you want to add a video source, you have your HDMI 1 let me show you this. You have HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and you even have a USB port like for a webcam and so on. Honestly, that's the least I would use, just because of the amount of power that the amount of work that the tablet has to do the conversion and utilize it. I have never been able to do a successful stream including a webcam. When I've done it, I've had a lot of drop frames, I mean, it just, the unit gets too busy. So I would just keep these as, just a USB access that you can actually plug in a mouse or so. But again, I'll leave this one alone, to be quite honest. HDMI 1 and 2, that's what I would use for 2 cameras. I don't think you necessarily need more than that. If you do, then you're probably looking at another device for streaming. But again, let's remember this is a very, very extremely portable unit that you can literally just have your camera, this device, and some media to go along with it, and you can create a very nice production out of that. So I'm going to go into local video, and basically it's going to allow me to pick from all the videos that I have recorded. Let's say I'm going to include this video as video 1, and there it goes. That's my video. That's a recording that I did at one point in time. And then we can add another second video. This would be just a slideshow that I created for a wedding, and there it is. So I can switch back and forth. If you see me, I'm doing that just now. I'm switching from one to the other, and I'm giving you the view of what's actually on this unit. But from the Yolobox, you can select your output, and we're going to get to that in a second. So in addition to having video sources, because as I said, and let me go back to the video source screen, you can have, as I mentioned, HDMI 1, HDMI 2, USB, which again I don't recommend unless you might just do the USB one, which quality-wise for me is not the best, basically. So we have local video 1, local video 2, which if you see them right now, I cannot select them anymore because I already used that as local. So you have HDMI, HDMI 2, local video 1, local video 2. So you have 4 sources already of things that you can mix in. You can also bring in a live stream. So if you have another stream going on with Yolobox, you can actually pull that stream and bring it in. I don't personally use that one, but the option is there. In addition to that, and this is a great one, and this was an add-on that came along the way, is PDF. And now I don't have a PDF that I can add to my that I could pull in and add. I should have thought, but basically you can. The Yolobox has an SD card slot, and in that SD card, it uses that SD card slot for many different options. One is for recording. Second, to pull the videos that you might have created as content for your stream. Also images, and in this case PDFs, which is you can actually use that, create in PDF format. If you're going to create it, create a landscape version of it, and basically this PDF will allow you to select that actual PDF and use it as a presentation. It has navigation to forward and go back to use it as a presentation. Then you also have images. Now, let me explain this here. You're using images as video source. Later, you're going to see images that can be used just as basic, just images, which is on this one. It's called overlays. All right, so we're going back to our video sources, and you can add an image. And the good thing about the image is that you can use, let's say we're going to use this one, and that becomes an actual video source. So you have that also as a video source, so you can use that just to basically switch to, or you can utilize it in a way like this, where you can actually move on into the next option as a video source, which is picture-in-picture, split view, side-by-side, and news layout. Those 4 multi-view options are available so that you can just spice up your presentations, or not your presentations, but your live streams. Could be a presentation as well. But let's say I'm going to do a side-by-side. So out of what you have already picked as video sources, it allows you to, let's say I want to do this one, and then I want to do this other one. Then it presents me with how it's going to lay it out, and I can just basically work with that. I'm not going to go into the details right now, but basically that becomes a video source, and it allows you to do it one time. So if I were to create a picture-in-picture, it would be taken just like the other ones, then it's a split view, side-by-side, and a news layout. So those are all video sources, and you can mix them in there. And it's just a great thing. Remember, you're doing everything out of this one little box. So for me, it's a perfect portable, and needless to say, this also streams at the same time. As long as you have either a good Wi-Fi connection or an Ethernet connection, you can connect to it via Ethernet. It's got its own internal Wi-Fi card, so you can connect to a local. If you're in a venue, you can connect to the Wi-Fi connection. Hopefully, they have, first of all, a good solid connection where you're at, and second, they do allow it. So for that, you have options too. You have, as I said, your Ethernet, and you have right here you have a SIM card option where you can just basically insert a service provider SIM card, like such as AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, any of them, and you're just basically dependent on how good the quality of the service is where you're at. So it's something that if you were going to use this, I always do this. I do go test it, and also I do have a backup option. You can potentially do this via Wi-Fi to your phone, and then your phone you can use services such as Speedify, services that allow you to do like a failover, or just basically to add the two together. It bonds them and allows you to do that. So that's, again, that would be a video of its own, and we're going to go ahead and do that, so that way we can just concentrate and go into the details and different options that you can do to, of course, ensure that you're going to have a good quality stream. Now, in some cases, you might end up with there's no way I'm going to be able to stream these, so you have the option, and now that would be to record your actual stream. So basically, you'll be recording it to your own SD card. Now, the quality, I just got to let you know, the quality of the recording is just basically the same quality of the streaming. And if you step back and think through it, basically when you stream up to the internet, the quality of your streaming has to be reduced, or the quality of the video has to be reduced to the point where it can be transmitted and streamed live through, first of all, to be pushed into a server, and from the server over to users. So it has to use, first of all, the codecs that it has to use are compressed codecs. So that compressed codecs, what it does is that it reduces the quality, but makes it to where it's just good enough and quality enough to where your streamings are definitely, something that people are going to admire and like. And on top of that, you have the option that you're not just like, say you're on a cell phone and you're streaming direct and moving and wiggling, and you are actually providing a quality streaming with titling and switching and video sources and different options. So that takes me into the next thing, which is going to be overlays. Not just video sources. We just saw video sources. Next thing is going to be overlays. And in overlays, we have things. Let's just click on the plus, and you have these options. You have basically image overlays, which are basically graphics, which could be JPEGs, could be PNGs, and it allows you to do that. Just add them. Let's say I'm going to add that one, and basically you can also scale it if you want to make it a little smaller, kind of like for somewhat picture-in-picture effect or so. But you don't have to. Well, let's say yes, you can. But again, I can move it around And I'm not going into details right now. I'm just simply going to go ahead and show you that there's the option. Later on, we'll go through the whole thing. All right, so we have that. And so among others, if you click on the plus, you can add image overlays, lower thirds. That's what lower thirds look like. So you can add titles, and like if you're in a presentation and you want to have the title of the person that's going to be speaking and so on, you can add them here. It's got some nice options there, and so we've got that. They're customizable, of course. You're not stuck with that. Let's say there, I'm adding that. This is Yenny Wong. She's part of the Yolobox team and so forth. So anyhow, I'm Frank as well. Very good guy there, and that's constantly, looking out for customers and just engaging everybody, trying to help us stick and understand what's going on with Yolo when they're coming up with upgrades, and just always asking for suggestions and so on. So again, they're doing a great job. Nothing is perfect, but these people are handling it very well. So going back, we have that. We have lower thirds. Let's quickly go into one of them. Let's see that one. Then these are the options that you have. Again, we'll do a video that will allow us, or we'll get step by step, just break it down so that it's just more digestible. I don't want to make a long video, and this video is already turning into a long video. But anyhow, that's it. You can add overlays. So in the overlays, you have options such as lower thirds. Also, you have a countdown timer. Those are the countdown timers that you can use. You also have titles. There we go. Some nice titles there, just some templates that you can use, and social overlays also for your, when you want to just pop in and out with some of your social media links and so on, if you want to advertise and so on. So basically that's what it is. Next thing, as far as options, is going to be the list of platforms. And this one, there you go. It took a little bit. Well, basically you have, basically you have YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and then you have RTMP ones that you can create, and I'll show you where to create it later. But basically these are the options that you can actually literally connect to, and if you choose the proper setting, you can actually stream out to those simultaneously. So that's that. Then we have the audio settings, and again, this has matured from its original setting to a more elaborate one where you have control of each input, and you can tell it, hey, I want this level. Maybe you have a source that's coming too hot and so on. Same thing, you can just specify here for each of your inputs inputs. Let's call it sources rather, because there's not necessarily the inputs, but your sources, and you can tell it, hey, this is the levels that I want, or I want to use audio follow video. So again, details on that on a specific video for that. And the next thing is the scoreboard display, where like the video we're looking at right now, it would be probably the best example for it. If you're doing like games and so on, you can just play around with that. And again, you can customize the team names, the team logos. You can add time, change the periods, and the style of the actual scoreboard. So we'll go into more details later. All right, so next one up is comments. Honestly, I haven't used comments. I'm too busy when I'm doing a stream like this to be kind of fiddling with that. And again, or one of the things that I'm very careful with is just having to be manipulating too much the unit, because it might freeze in the middle of an actual stream. So I try to just stick with I'm switching and not fiddling with any of the settings. And especially, I wouldn't go into comments. I mean, no need, especially if I'm busy performing something that's way more important. One of the features that this has, it's called auto switch, which I don't use. I would, or let me see, the only use in my case would be like if I'm before starting an actual stream, I could potentially have this just basically switch from one camera to another, to a video source and so on, to an actual source rather, a video source, kind of loop back and forth just to keep it like flowing, and before I maybe have a time, just a countdown clock. So it just stays dynamic, letting people know, hey, we're about to start, but we're not, in case you need to do something else. Otherwise, I don't use the auto switch. But again, hey, it's a nice feature. Thank you, Yolobox. This also was added later down the pipe, and it's a welcome feature. So thanks for that. Now, if you notice here at the bottom, this scrolls over. So don't think that when you're here, this is it. You have no more features. You just have to scroll to the left, and then we're going to go to settings. So video source switching modes. You have click to switch, double click to switch. Local video switching settings. It's basically start from the beginning, resume from where, just keep on playing or pause. Again, those are things that have been added and not in version 5, but this is basically the product maturing. And again, the team has done great adding all these features and listening to their customers. So we have next thing, play mode is if you want to just have a video that to play as a loop, which I use a lot, like in events, weddings and so on. I loop images like this. This is a slideshow, and basically this video just keeps on looping. It's got sound and so forth. Right now it's not there playing, but because I'm not doing the audio follow video anyways, but that's basically the gist of it. So next thing is SD card management. Basically that's just for, seeing how much space I've got left on my card, if I need to delete something to clear up some space. That's what that is all about. Program out. So if I were to change program out right now, my program out right here is connected to the switcher where I'm recording these scenes, or what we're doing right now. If I were to switch over, then I will go straight out to what's the output of my what I'm doing. So basically I'm switching, and what you'll see is the actual program. That's what it is. That's why it's called program out. So I'm going to switch back, and there you go, we're back on this. And the next thing is the video source transitions. It's just basically how do you want to do it. You want to just do straight cut, fade, wipe, directional, and it's got a whole bunch of options there. I usually use cut or maybe a fade if anything. But again, this is depending on what you're doing and so on. You might want to just use those options, but it's good to know that you have those options. Let me get rid of the scoreboard. We don't need it. I'm going back to the settings here. We have that cropping. You can do that cropping. Basically it only does it for your HDMI inputs. Again, we'll go over that in another video. Now, streaming mode, single platform. This is what I was mentioning. You can either go to single, let's say you want to go to YouTube, or if you want to go to several platforms, you can use Yololiv's multi-streaming service, which is the web-based one I was talking about. Encoding settings, you can go ahead. I would strongly recommend, and it says it right there, default and recommended to use constant bitrate. And then you tell the bitrate. Now you want to set this bitrate once you do survey your Wi-Fi or your network access. Basically, if you have, and this is, I guess, the rule of thumb that you want to follow is you want to have this bitrate to be at least half of your bandwidth available for upload. Keyword upload. You're not downloading, you're uploading, you're pushing out to the internet, you're pushing out to a server. So you want to make sure that you have a solid connection that provides you with at least double the bit rate that you're going to be pushing out. In this case, it sets by default to 3000 and for 1080. I'd like to push it higher, at least 6,000, and either 30 frames or 24 frames. If you're not doing like events like this where you're doing like volleyball games or games in general, I stick with 30 frames because it's the maximum it can do, and it's no 60 frames, but it does well for motion. You know, like for weddings and so on, I'll keep it down to 24 because that's what my cameras are also set for. And it also helps with that bit rate. It does help with just not going beyond or the same amount of frames, it uses less bandwidth. So that just a little hint there, or a little tip for those of you out there. So you can increase that or not, or just manipulate it, making sure that you're not at least half this bandwidth of what your actual internet access is. So we did the encoding settings and recording limits. Basically, if you're recording using the record, which I'm not really fond of or crazy about, I'd rather just record on my cameras, and then or sometimes I would use a recorder coming out of the HDMI out to use a better quality recorder. So anyhow, basically I usually push it to continuously if I'm going to be recording for whatever reason, so that way it doesn't cut every 10 minutes. But it says here, to prevent losing a complete recording due to unexpected interruptions, we suggest you choose the default at 10 minutes. So hey, you want to stay safe, stay with the 10 minutes. So basically that takes us to the end of the overview. This is what this Yolobox. So thank you, Yolobox, for this newer update 5.0. And well, for those of you who haven't used this, I hope this summary or this review of what this unit can do can help you out and see basically what live streaming in a box entails, and maybe encourages you to go ahead and take a dip and go for it. Probably what makes the most sense for those who haven't done it yet is to buy the newer units. Of course, you're going to get more features and so on. So, and the price difference is not as much. They're still selling the OG. But for us that have had the OG for some time, this being refreshed, and again, for customer loyalty, that's a big plus. So thank you, Yolobox, and thank you all for watching.